Mark Stuart Thorkelson is a Chicago-based artist whose work draws inspiration from the aesthetics of flight and airplanes. Thorkelson is a pilot who's logged over 1,000 hours of flight time, and he incorporates this experience into his art. Past projects have included conceptual pieces and installations, working with groups as diverse as the Air Force Academy and a camera crew from the NBC television program Extra. Thorkelson's most recent works apply his unique approach to the anniversary of the Berlin airlift. As a cargo pilot, Thorkelson has flown DC-3s and C-47s, the same type of cargo planes as those used in the airlift. The following canvases reflect this insight, expertise, and aesthetic. They're intended to energize and uplift the human spirit.
This is an overview of the Berlin airlift. It's given from the pilot's perspective. As you can see, it's the 3 air corridors into and out of Berlin. What's interesting is the idea that each plane is drawn from the pilot's perspective or the individual flight. For example, this seems to be inverted, while this seems to be foreshortened. But taken in the individual level, he's climbing and doing a left turn over the Vulcan rotor radio beam, while this guy is going into Sella on a final approach. Hence, he's foreshortened. It's all about the air routes, and these neon are the radio beacons, which the whole thing was founded on. In the pink, it shows the kind of joking the communist country, and it's it's not about a political thing. It's all about flight. The Berlin airlift is an awesome example of deco planes in flight and the aesthetic that's associated with it, and that's what these works are about.
The cargo planes used in the airlift were guided to the runway by tightly focused radio beams. Thorkelson's art incorporates these beams and uses them as a metaphor for the intuitive focus common to both flying and art.
A little painting this approach, I hope you get the feeling of the airplane zooming over the house. The concept is that he's missed the approach beam down to Tempelhof, and that his plane is vibrating and dirty here as it slows up, and he's clearly not going to make the field, endangering the apartment building. A common occurrence in the Berlin airlift, and a common occurrence in flight, and a neat aesthetic. It's the idea of giving another shot and trying again. Focusing on beam flying again as standard instrument takeoff. That's kind of an interesting application both of paint and context. The idea here of the plane getting cleaned up and accelerating as the gear comes up, staying on the instrument takeoff beam. Okay, this is a plane I flew very often in Puerto Rico on a very similar approach, the ILS. It's interesting because here he's a little bit high, as you can see, if you bisect the circle, it's a little high on the beam, so he's slipping into the ILS approach. And it just kind of gets the associated motion of flying the beam, which a lot of the airlift was about. What's neat about it from an aesthetic standpoint is it gives the airplane this kind of elongated look, foreshortened in the fuselage and elongated on the wings. And I think it makes it a nice kind of a flow down the beam.
Thorkelson's images express the energetic interaction of flight. He touches on the aesthetics of the planes themselves and captures their energy in his brushstrokes.
Smiley C-47s, they're kind of trippy because they have this deco design, and naturally this curve underneath the nose gives the feeling of a smile, and I accentuated that. Ground crew, the associated motion of the people rallying the field clear, and the shockiness of the airplane, again, not in flight. In this shot, we have DC-3s, C-47s taxiing for takeoff. Sense of the potential energy, the vibration of the airplane before rolling, and the heaviness of the plane itself, heavier on the ground than in flight in terms of energy, hence the choppy movement.
These works attempt to catch the energy of landing, the natural flow of the aircraft meeting the ground and arriving at its destination. The viewer is invited to feel a greater connection between the earth and the skies above.
Okay, it's about potential energy, pitching the nose up, dropping the gear down, associated vibrations and energy of the airplane at a steep approach. All right, hopefully we have the feeling of a happy arrival here in the low approach, when the airplane is on a low descent rate, and landing on the main gear with the nose wheel coming up. And from left to right, the concept of just reducing the power and the plane meeting the ground. And the neat thing about flying is there's many different ways to get the job done in a different style. This was one concept in terms of style and arrival.
Thorkelson's approach to aviation focuses on the energy and intuitive aspects of flight. His work is intended to uplift the human spirit, and Thorkelson's unique insight into his subject allows these canvases to create a closer and more positive connection with the flying experience.